Have you ever sat down and wondered what it would be like if there was a Transformers version of Marvel Rivals? Well, I did, and today you're gonna see my concept, MVP animations, ults, maps, heroes, and everything. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy this video on what I think a Transformers version of Marvel Rivals would look like. Alright, so we're just gonna start right off with our classes. So we're gonna do a little breakdown of the heroes by class. So this also Decepticons, Autobot, Decepticons, heroes, whatever. Anyway, so we're just gonna break it down: tank, DPS, support / healers, and then I'll tell you a little bit about each one. So we'll start with tank. So obviously, number one, we got Optimus Prime. That's kind of an obvious. He's got to be a tank. Same with Megatron. And then I chose 4 tanks. So I put Hound as a tank because he's nice and big and beefy. And then I put Grimlock as a tank. That might be a little controversial, but I think he'd be a banger tank with a sword. Yeah, I think that'd be fire. And then DPS, we got Bumblebee. Bumblebee's got to be in there. Bumblebee's DPS with Jazz, Starscream, Scourge, Ironhide, Barricade, Cliffjumper, and Sentinel Prime. Obviously, just like Marvel Rivals, DPS is stacked with characters. I could add some more in there. And then we'll just go right down to support / healer. We've got Ratchet, Soundwave, Shockwave, Heatwave. I threw in a little rescue bots in there. And Wheeljack. So, yeah, let's break them down, each one, character by character.
It's been an honor serving with you all. Autobots, roll out!
Class dismissed.
Alright, so we're going to start our character breakdown with Optimus Prime. So his primary will be a punch. He'll have a one-shot from his ion blaster that recharges every 5 seconds. He'll be able to transform and drive in a small circle and deal damage to opponents. That's recharged every 15 seconds. He'll have a kick that knocks his opponents back, similar to Captain America's shield. Just like Captain America, he can also sprint. He has an ult where he can pull out his Energon swords and swing them around, do a bunch of damage, and he'll say this for his ult line.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
And I did some of these MVP animations in stop motion. I don't have all the figures, but here is what I think Optimus Prime's MVP animation would look like. Alright, let's go right on to Megatron. Alright, for Megatron, his primary attack will be his Energon Mace. He'll also have a shield that can block up to 800 damage. He'll have a fusion cannon blast that can recharge every 5 seconds. He'll have a punch. He'll have flight for movement because they can do that in G1. And for his ult, he can transform into a tank and fire one giant blast out of his tank, kind of like Iron Man's Maximum Pulse. And for his ult line, he'll say this.
I am Megatron!
And this is what I think Megatron's MVP animation would look like. Alright, let's jump right on to the next character. Alright, next up is Hound. So his primary will be a gun. He'll have a gun that he can shoot. He'll have grenades, a knife to stab people, a belly flops, I think that'd be funny. For movement, he can roll. And his ult is he'll pull out a ginormous minigun and just spray it around, kind of like how Punisher's ult works. And for his ult line, he'll say this.
I'm like a fat ballerina!
And this is what I think Hound's MVP animation would be. Alright, and that's it for Hound. Alright, so next up is Grimlock. So his primary will be a sword swing, because he has a sword. He'll be able to throw his sword. Also, he'll have his blaster he can shoot. He can stomp, and he can also sprint. And his ult, he'll transform into his dinosaur mode and spit fire at everyone. That does a lot of damage. And then for his ult line will be this.
Me, Grimlock, not nice dino.
Alright, and I don't have a Grimlock figure, unfortunately. I really got to get one. But this is what I think his MVP animation would look like. Alright, so we're starting our DPS character breakdowns with Bumblebee. He'll have his primary attack as a blaster. He'll also be able to fire rockets, have mines he can place down, transform, drive in a straight line, and knock over opponents. He can have bombs he can throw, and his ult will be auto-lock his blasters, just like how Star-Lord's does. And this will be his ult line.
Sting like a bee.
And this is what I think Bumblebee's MVP animation would look like. Alright, so I'm editing this video right now, and I just realized that if I go over every single character's kit, it's going to be a really long video. So we're doing 3 per thing now. So we already did Bumblebee, so now we'll do Jazz. So his primary is a punch. He also has his blaster, a spin kick, an uppercut. He can stun his opponents with music for a few seconds, and his ult is he places speakers on the ground that deal lots of damage to enemies for about 5 to 7 seconds. And this is what his ult line will be.
Autobots, start your engines!
And this is what I imagine his MVP animation would look like.
Jazz, this looks like a cool place to kick it.
Alright, and rounding out our DPS recovering is Starscream. He has his null rays. He has a laser just like how Iron Man has his unibeam. Basically, you just hold it how Iron Man's works, basically. He can fire missiles. His wings can spin and knock back opponents with wind. And for his moving, he transforms into a jet and flies. His ult is Skywarp and Thundercracker drop down, and they all start shooting at everybody. And this is what his ult line will be.
So long, Autobots. Here's one Starscream's been saving for you.
This is what I imagine his MVP animation would look like. And that rounds out our DPS characters. So let's get on to the healers now. We're gonna do 3 healers. Ratchet's our first one, so he has his primary as a blaster. He also has healing case that he can put on the ground for his teammates to go grab, like Jeff has his orbs. He has a saw, just like in Bayverse. He has a revive kit, also like Rocket has. And he can give his teammates shield that are in a certain radius. And his ult is he transforms into his ambulance, drives around, and heals all teammates he passes to full HP, but he can only have that for 5 seconds. This is his ult line.
I needed that!
And this is what I imagine his MVP animation would look like. Alright, now on to Soundwave. His primary is a sound blast that does damage to opponents. He also has healing orbs, just like Rocket. And he has Ravage, Laserbeak, and Rumble. I know that's kind of basic, but I thought that'd be cool to include those. Those all can do damage in different ways. And his ult is heals all teammates within a 10-meter radius for 10 seconds. And this is what his ult line will be.
Decepticons, attack!
And this is what I imagine his MVP animation would look like. Alright, so rounding out our characters, if you want me to do the characters I didn't cover in this video because of time constraints, get this video to 50 likes and we'll do that next week. So Heatwave, our last healer, he has a primary, he says punch, he can spray water that heals people, just like Jeff can. He can drop healing boxes for his teammates to grab. He can transform and drive into his opponents and knock them back. I figured a healer could also use sprint. And for his ult, he can transform, grab one opponent, and throw them using his tower ladder on the back of his fire truck. I thought that'd be funny. This will be his ult line.
There, problem solved.
And this is what I imagine his MVP animation would look like. Alright, for the very last topic of this video, I hope you guys have enjoyed. We're going over the maps. So, maps would obviously be where they play at, where you would play as the different games at. So we have Iacon, Chicago, Nevada, a little TFP action in there, the Ark, and the Nemesis. I think those would be some pretty cool maps you could play at. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's been taking me a long time to make, and I really am proud of how this video turned out. So please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That'd be very much appreciated if we could get there before my birthday. That'd be amazing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned, episode 3 coming out soon, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.